let's talk about One Piece.
The One Piece is real!
Can we get much higher?
There's no escaping it. Whether you've watched one anime or 10,000, I can guarantee you've at least heard of it. It's the highest selling manga of all time, with over 500 million copies sold since 1997. Ichiro Oda's magnum opus long ago took the world by storm with no signs of slowing down. And no, magnum opus is not like the condom. Early last year, One Piece reached its 1000th chapter, and the hype around the series has only been rising since. So, from what I can see, there's three categories of anime fans when it comes to One Piece. The first is people who have actually read the manga. They correctly claim that One Piece is peak fiction.
Bruh.
The second opinion comes from the ignorant. This group is made up of people who refuse to read it because it's, quote, too long. I'll cover why this is a brain-dead take later. The final opinion is people who have claimed to have read One Piece, but don't think it's deserving of the hype. This category of, people doesn't actually exist. They're very similar to the voices I hear in my head, you just kinda learn to ignore them after a while.
Get out of my head! Get out of my head!
If you're watching this and think you belong in the third group, please, seek professional help. You clearly need it.
Stop it. Get some help.
As you might have guessed, I belong in the first group. And today, I want to prove to you that One Piece deserves to be called a modern-day epic. There's no point in comparing One Piece to its contemporaries like Naruto or Bleach, especially considering how dog those shows are. I think only the greatest works of fiction from throughout history can even compete. Okay, so what is an epic? An epic is a long narrative poem that is elevated and dignified in theme, tone, and style. As a literary device, an epic celebrates heroic deeds and historically important events. An epic usually focuses on the adventures of a hero who has qualities that are superhuman or divine, and whose very fate often depends on the destiny of a tribe, nation, or sometimes the whole of the human race. The Iliad and the Odyssey are considered the most important epics in Western world literature, although this literary style has been utilized across different regions and cultures. For this video, I plan to use the Odyssey as the main example to compare One Piece against, mostly because of the obvious similarities between the two. Now, for a more recent example, we can look to the godfather of the fantasy genre, Lord of the Rings, which is often referred to as an epic. People often associate an epic to mean a really long poem, but this isn't necessarily the case. In modern times, we have epics that are written both in the poetic and prosaic forms. Prosaic just means the common style of writing that lacks any poetic elements. By using this more modern definition of an epic, I think I can make a really strong case that One Piece deserves to be considered as such. I'm gonna go through this definition again, but this time I'll be providing evidence from One Piece to support my claim. The first defining quality of an epic is its length. In general, an epic spans multiple books covering different sections of the story. The Odyssey, for example, has 24 books, and the One Piece equivalent to this would be the different arcs. Every time Luffy and the crew travel to a new island or country, this usually signifies the start of a new arc. By my count, there's been 33 complete arcs of One Piece, long surpassing the Odyssey in length. So we can agree that One Piece is long. But what else is needed to define an epic? From our earlier definition, the story needs to be elevated and dignified in theme, tone, and style. But what does it mean for a story to be elevated and dignified? My interpretation of this is that the story would sound grandiose to some extent. Epics commonly have fantasy elements within them as they rely heavily on mythology from their respective cultures as an influence. The characters would need to be chasing some lofty and grand goal in order to justify the insane worlds they take place in. The world of One Piece and Luffy's dream of becoming the Pirate King clearly fit those criteria. As for the next part of the definition, an epic follows a hero who has qualities that are either superhuman or divine. I shouldn't have to explain this one, as Luffy is a walking, talking rubber band with a propensity for overthrowing governments, which is pretty based. As for divinity, look no further than the second coming of Christ himself, God D. Usopp. The last part of the definition is that the fate of the world is dependent on the hero. Readers of One Piece should have a pretty good idea that the world government is the big baddie for most of the series. Some might argue Blackbeard is more of a threat, but I think everything will come back to the world government in the end. With that in mind, Luffy declaring war on the world government back in Enies lobby means he's taken a call to action and is willing to fight for what he believes in. I think Luffy's goal of finding the One Piece will lead to direct conflict with the world government in some capacity, so I think we can check that off the list. Here's a bonus fun fact: for fans of Dante's Inferno, you can look into the Impel Down arc and notice how the whole arc is a metaphor for Luffy's descent into hell. Also, let us have a moment of silence for the absolute GOAT that is Bon Clay. He's not dead or anything, but his sacrifice will never be forgotten. In order to solidify my claim, I now want to take a look at the Odyssey and show you just how similar it is to One Piece. The Odyssey focuses on Odysseus and his 10-year journey home to Ithaca after the Trojan War. Along the way, he sails the sea, explores different islands, faces many powerful enemies, and meets many different people. One Piece is about a boy named Luffy who sets off to sea to find the elusive treasure called the One Piece. He gets together a crew, explores different islands, faces many powerful enemies, and makes many new friends along the way. The sea plays a pivotal role in both the Odyssey and in One Piece. In both works, the sea is used as a mode of transport to get from one destination to another. The sea also evokes a sense of uncertainty and danger in both the Odyssey and in One Piece. In the Odyssey, once Odysseus sets out to sea after escaping the island of Calypso, he has no clue what lies ahead. All he does know is that in order for him to reach Greece, he has to traverse straight through the uncertainty of the sea. In One Piece, the end goal of the Straw Hats from the very beginning of the series is to reach Raftel and find the One Piece. To get there, they have to travel along the Grand Line, which has its own perils and dangers no less than that of the Odyssey. Both works also have a running theme of freedom. For Odysseus, he longs to be free of the curse that the gods put on him so that he can actually get back home. Luffy is also cursed from the devil fruit that he consumed, as despite being a pirate, he'll never be able to swim. In One Piece, Luffy and the crew desire freedom in their own way. They all want to be free to roam the sea without any marines or pirates attacking them, and they want to be able to freely accomplish the dreams and goals that they have. When Luffy and the crew are trapped by enemies, they long to return to the sea, because for them, the sea represents freedom, and only on the sea are they truly free. There's plenty more comparisons that can be made between the two works, but my point is that if the Odyssey is considered an epic, then One Piece must be considered as one too. Now, this next section is for the troglodytes in the audience who refuse to read One Piece. At this point in the video, we've established that One Piece is a modern-day epic, and should go down as one of the greatest works of fiction ever written. Clearly, you watch anime if you found this channel, but that just makes it worse. This means you've probably sat through hundreds of episodes of garbage like Isekai Harems or most of Naruto. Now, I can already hear the haters typing in the comments, art style this, too long that, Bleach is the best in the big three, and a ton of other unfounded bull. I understand those arguments to a degree, as to the untrained eye, One Piece does have a more cartoony style, and having over 1,000 chapters can seem daunting. If this is you, please take my word for it. Anything Naruto and Bleach did well, One Piece has done it better. One Piece is the most masterfully crafted story with the best world building out of any anime I've ever seen. It's also had the most profound effect on me emotionally. On rare occasions, I'll be reading or watching a particularly great anime and find myself tearing up or getting goosebumps. One Piece has done this to me countless times more than any other piece of media, and true anime fans know that these moments are what makes a masterpiece. At the end of the day, it's up to you whether or not to read One Piece, but you'll probably regret not doing so when your great-grandchildren are learning about it in school.
僕が金になびく男に見えるとでも
見えるわ。
その通りだ。
In all seriousness, if you haven't read One Piece, you need to go give it a read. My recommendation is that you read at least 50 chapters before you decide to call it quits. If you can get through 50 chapters and honestly tell yourself that you hate it, then it's fine, don't let me stop you. But I bet that 99.99999% of you would end up completely hooked and begging for another chapter, just like the rest of us. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Jump Report. I'm your host Taylor, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Binge!